Never in my life did I think eating healthy would ever taste this good. What's going on, everybody? I'm about to show y'all how to make a protein ramen bowl. Let's get straight to it. Gotta start heating up the pan so that way it's ready for the chicken to be cooked on it. It is optimal for the pan to be put on medium heat, so do keep that in mind. I'll show you all the seasonings we need to use. We'll start off with salt. You can put as much salt as you want, it doesn't really matter. Then we go start using the black pepper. It doesn't necessarily matter which seasonings you use, just as long as you have garlic, black pepper, or some sort of salt. Then you want to rub it all in so that way it's coating the chicken nice and evenly. It's got to have a different color to it, otherwise it just does not have flavor. Next we put the olive oil so that way we can start laying the chicken in, and just like that they gonna start cooking. Next I'm going to be chopping up my green onions. Keep in mind that I am cooking for me and my dad, so the amount of green onions you would need would probably be a whole lot more different. Then we're gonna get started chopping up some regular onions, nothing crazy. We're not gonna end up cooking these, we're gonna actually just let them sit. I make sure to wash them too, so that way they're clean to eat. Don't judge me on how I cut my onions. I have no idea how to cut onions. Then once your chicken is cooked thoroughly, you just want to give it a nice flip. Be sure to check on them like every 7 to 8 minutes because this is when they start to cook thoroughly. Next step, we're going to start putting in our boiled eggs. You can put as many as you want, but keep in mind that every egg is 70 calories with about 6.5 grams of protein. I always like to do 2. You could do 3 maybe if you want, but I always go with 2 to stay within my BMR. Sometimes I'll treat myself to 3, but it really depends on how many calories I actually eat throughout the day. And the chicken is finally ready. I like to make sure it cooks thoroughly to avoid any illness at all. I didn't mention this before, but you gotta let your eggs cook for about 7 minutes before you take them out and put them in a bowl full of cold water. After cooking the eggs, I always like to use the leftover water to just put it into the ramen bowls because why not? With that said, we're gonna cut the chicken. I always like to cut them just straight across rectangularly, but you could always just put them into smaller cubes. It doesn't necessarily matter, it doesn't change the contents of the meal itself, it just, changes up how much you eat at once. Prefer each piece lengthier just for the heck of it. For me, it's an aesthetic thing. After that, your eggs should be ready to start cracking. The reason why you need them to sit in cold water is so that way they're easier to crack without actually breaking into the egg itself. As you can see here, it's just way easier to peel it this way. Quick note that the whole reason we need the eggs to be cooked for 7 minutes and then immediately put into an ice cold bath is so that way when you go and cut into the egg, it's all runny and gooey and everything. Now, if you prefer your eggs cooked thoroughly, that's up to you. But for me, I like my eggs runny. You finna see why. Once the ramen noodles are done cooking, you want to drain all the fluids and then just start putting about less than a tablespoon of butter onto them. Once that's done, you can start stirring them with a fork of your choice to essentially evenly melt the butter amongst all the noodles. This will give the noodles that nice buttery taste. It does give it some extra calories, but the meal does stay under 1,000 calories. The only reason it would ever go above 1,000 is if you end up using red meats. Then we're gonna top off the ramen with some onions and green onions. This is for that nice oniony flavor. Onions and green onions are just also really good for you too. They are low in calories, but they definitely help up the volume on this meal, helping you stay fuller for longer. Once that's done, go ahead and start applying the ramen seasonings. I like to use half of the packets for both the sauce and the powder, just because I don't really need that much spice in my ramen, and I don't really want all that dried cheese, whatever the heck that shit is in the packet. Then once you're done seasoning them, go ahead and give them a stir. Now here's something I want y'all to keep in mind whenever it comes to the macros of this meal. These noodles did come from the packet version of Bulldog ramen noodles, but you can find like these bowls that have way less calories in them. Often I prefer to use those, but at the moment we had like these packets. The packets are usually 550 calories. I believe the bowls are usually 420 or 470, somewhere around there. I think it's 470 actually, but I would suggest getting the bowls. They'll usually sell them like wholesale at Costco. They'll do the same with the packet version, but honestly, if you just want the same amount of volume but less calories, you just honestly should just go with the bowl version. That's just a tip in case you want to lower the calories. And to be real with you, I don't even really notice a difference in the portions. I think they're just about the same. At least that's how it feels. And there you have it. You have your high protein ramen bowl ready to go. I'll put the macros for y'all on the screen right here. I get it is not the best ratio, but it is high protein and it is very filling. And this is why I told y'all to cook the egg for 7 minutes. Look at how runny this is. You cannot tell me this is really satisfying. But with that being said, that's the end of the video. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out.